G'day guys, Shawnee from Life and Tennis. In today's video, I'll be giving you a career update as well as all the latest on the ATP Tour. So on the work front, I've been given a very exciting opportunity covering the Australian Open for Tennis Australia as a content writer. This opportunity came about through Vivian Christie, who's the managing editor of publications and content at TA in Australia. And essentially it sort of felt like a long time coming because I've been knocking at the door at TA for a long time, and I've basically been applying for any content related job that I've seen pop up essentially on LinkedIn. I basically got an email during the week or last week from Viv, essentially mentioning there might be an opportunity to work at the Australian Open next year in 2025, and we had followed up by a meeting. And basically saying that they wanted to offer me a casual contract or casual job over the course of the 3 weeks of the Oz Open, which includes qualies in the first week and then the 2 weeks of the main draw. So from January 6th to the 26th when the tournament concludes. So absolutely amazing opportunity. I was absolutely wrapped. It did sort of clash with my current role at the NAB, which I've only just started, like 4 weeks ago, and I signed a contract with them as well. But I guess as a contractor, I can take off leave. It will be unpaid leave, but I managed to sort it out with my, with my NAB team, with my manager and my project team. So really exciting that I managed to get that leave approved. So essentially I'll be taking off 3 weeks leave to cover the Australian Open for Tennis Australia, which will be an absolutely amazing opportunity. And I've been looking to do this. It's been a bit of a dream of mine, to cover the Australian Open for TA for a while now. So, and I did cover it, the Oz Open this year for the first serve. It'll be at a much different capacity and with a bit more, remuneration involved, a bit more money. So that'll be obviously a big plus. But it'll be really exciting to be involved with the TA team, the content team over the course of the busy Aussie summer, and it's going to be incredibly busy. So really, really excited about this opportunity. For those of you who've been following the channel, for a while, one of the first videos I ever posted was actually an interview with a fellow First Serve member, Christian Montagan. And it was basically about, I interviewed him, but the video was about, we talk about me and Christian, our first experience as media representatives at the Oz Open and what that experience was like. Definitely check out that video. But I feel like this, which I'll link in the description below or in the comments below. But this opportunity I think will be, let's just say maybe a little bit more formal. Given that I'll be working for the the governing body of tennis in Australia, TA. Whereas the First Serve opportunity was a bit more relaxed. Like we still obviously had to cover all of the we had to make sure we ticked all the boxes, particularly with covering the Aussies, which is a big focus of TA as well. But, there wasn't that, it was a bit more loose in terms of how it was organised and things like that. Whereas I feel like the TA opportunity is going to be very structured and very, very busy, but at the same time, very, very fun. So absolutely cannot wait for this opportunity. And as I've said, I've been knocking on the door at TA for a long time, basically applying for any job, any content related job that's popped up without success so far, but this one sort of came about kind of out of the blue, and I guess it really reflects how often opportunities come about in life. They never seem to come about, or as they say, they come about when you least expect it. I heard an expression the other day. I used to think of it as good things come to those who wait, but I had a good friend of mine, one of my best mates actually rephrased that. I think it might have been Steve Jobs or someone came up with this quote. It's like a rephrased version of good things come to those who wait, which is basically when preparation meets opportunity or something like that. So that's obviously not the full quote. I think there's something else that comes before that, but basically, you do all the prep work, in the lead up, and therefore the opportunity will present itself at some point in time. So I feel like I have done all the legwork. I've done all the 1%ers, I guess, in the background to give myself, this opportunity. And as I said, it's sort of come about out of the blue in some respects. But when I think about how persistent I've been, and really, like I said, making my my name known to the TA team and how keen I am to work in the tennis industry, and particularly for TA during the Oz Open. I think that, that was obviously something that didn't go unnoticed. So yeah, really, really excited about the opportunity. And I'm going to, try to absolutely make the most of my time at the Oz Open, meet everyone that I can, try to build a network, build a rapport with my team, and just have fun, just really enjoy the experience, and hopefully, learn from it and grow in my media career. But yeah, another news in the ATP Tour. So currently we have the Paris Masters 1000, which is the last Masters tournament of the year before the the Turin finals in Turin. And yeah, it seems like it's a really, really interesting tournament, especially given that, Jannik Sinner and Novak Djokovic are both out. So, Carlos Alcaraz goes in as the raging favourite, essentially. But there are definitely a few players there that can definitely take out the title. I know that, Jack Draper, as an example, he's one player who's been in some really, really red hot form. I think he was, before maybe this time last year, he was, sitting just inside the top 100, even just outside of now. I think he's, he will be 13 in the world after the tournament ends, depending on how far he goes in the tournament. So yeah, absolutely amazing achievement from Jack. And there's obviously a number of other players that can definitely take out the title. And then, of course, after Paris Masters, you've got the race to Turin, which I guess is, that's I guess the ATP Tour's kind of way of building up hype for the Turin finals, for the 8 best players in the world that qualify, male players in the world that qualify for the ATP Tour finals. So at the moment, I think there's I think 4 or 5 players that have qualified, including, Sinner, Alcaraz, and Zverev. I think Medvedev as well, and potentially Taylor Fritz. I can't remember. There's a 5th player that might have qualified. And yeah, then the other 3 spots are basically still open. So I'm not sure I don't think Novak has actually qualified officially yet. And given that he's not playing Paris, he's not going to earn any points at the Paris Masters. But, he's a very strong possibility that he will also qualify, unless he pulls out again, which is also possible. But at the moment, you have essentially 1 of 5 players, or 2 of 5 players could qualify, or potentially 3 of 5 players could qualify, and they are Casper Ruud, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Alex de Minaur, Dimitrov, and of course Andrei Rublev. So yeah, of those 5 players, potentially 2 or 3 of them could still make it or still qualify for the ATP Tour finals, or the finals in Turin, and just based on recent results, both Casper Ruud and Andrei Rublev have both been eliminated, both been knocked out of the Paris Masters. So it really shakes up, the chances of those other 3. And as an Aussie, particularly Alex de Minaur, I really, really would love to see him, qualify for the ATP Tour finals or the Turin finals, because he's had such a great year. He made the quarterfinals or better of all 4 Grand Slams this year, which is, his best ever Grand Slam results. And he's had a bit of a breakout year. In fact, his last couple of years, he's really, pushed, to solidify himself as a top 10 player, and someone who's, very capable of having a deep run, in the majors. So really, really hope he can continue his good run, and potentially, leapfrog either of those 2 players, Ruud or Rublev, in his bid to qualify for the Turin finals. And of course, then there's Dimitrov and Tsitsipas, who also have a chance to qualify as well. So and they're both still alive in the draw, I believe. So so still lots happening in the tennis tour. I suppose it's the sport that never sleeps. You never feel like there's ever an off season. So it's always exciting to watch. Of course, there are the WTA finals as well coming up too. So they always sort of happen to coincide at the same time. And in other news, the International Tennis Federation, or the ITF, has officially made off-court coaching legal for 2025. So, for those who aren't aware, off-court coaching had already been legal as part of the tour for, a while now. I think at least for most of this year. I don't know if if last year it might have even been, part of the tour, but now I think the ITF has basically made it official across the board. So yeah, what it means. Now I'm just going to read some of the guidelines as to what the this new off-court coaching rule will mean. So basically, it means that coaches can issue advice either verbally or via hand signals at any time except during the playing of a point. Coaching must be brief and discreet, except during breaks in play. In team events only, where a team captain sits on court, the team captain may also give coaching advice. And the last thing is players can access approved player analysis technology at times when coaching is permitted. So yeah, very interesting. I guess the ITF has had to stipulate those rules specifically just to, make it clear what, how off-court coaching is defined, and not to take it too far, not to take the piss basically. Because I guess, when you think of coaching, you think of like team sports, for example, like as an example in Australia, Australian rules football, you have, there are 4 quarters, and every quarter your coach gets to basically, address the team and, go over strategy and things like that and make any changes that he needs to. So yeah, I guess, from a tennis point of view, it's always been an individual sport. Coaching has never been allowed in the past. And now it seems like, tennis is trying to evolve into the modern age a bit by introducing this rule, and maybe it's something to, they're trying to shake up the sport a bit. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, I guess it has been part of the tour for at least a year now, but now that it's official, it'll be interesting to see how the rule is utilized by different players on the tour, and whether actually it helps them, or it has any success for some of these players. So yeah, time will tell, I suppose. But yeah, I did find some of those, some of those dot points very interesting, particularly when the one around being, having the brief and discreet sort of, hand signals during a match, I suppose. So during like, in between games and points and things like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether we'll actually see any like code violations because a coach hasn't adhered to the rules, the guidelines properly to the letter of the law, or whether, the chair umpire will just sort of let a lot of stuff go. Because for me personally, I guess, when it comes to off-court coaching, if they're making that legal, then there's a lot of grey area there that, a coach could potentially get away with. So I feel like you almost just have to say, if we've made it legal now, then it pretty much should just be, anything goes, you know what I mean? So, but I guess they've put those stipulated those specific dot points or those rules, so there's at least some sort of, some minor restrictions to how much coaching you can do during a match, which applies to all players across the board. So yeah, very, very interesting to see how that, evolves over time. But anyway, guys, that's all from me. Very interested to hear your thoughts and feedback around the off-court coaching rules for a start. The race to Turin, the Turin finals, and who you think is going to qualify, and even who might take out the Paris Masters event. And yeah, even on the life side, any career changes you guys have had, any sort of passion projects you happen to be following, particularly if it relates to tennis, because we've all got our lives outside of tennis, but we all like to, make tennis a big part of that as well, and really try to, whether it's, playing socially or whether it's in some sort of, potential, career capacity, even if it's on a casual basis, whether it's, working at one of the Grand Slams as a lines person, as a, ball kid, anything like that. Or even, just writing about tennis like I do, or being involved in the media. Yeah, very interested to hear if there's if you guys have had any interesting sort of career changes or opportunities that have come your way. But anyway, as always, guys, please like and subscribe for more tennis and life related content. Cheers, guys.